I thought going to lectures was a waste of time because oftentimes, unfortunately, the professor isn't as competent in teaching as he or she is in doing research. And also because lectures are designed in such a way that all knowledge points are covered almost equally. However, every student is different. I often find the lecturer spending too much time on, say, acceleration because I am naturally pretty good at acceleration, and I will find him or her spending too little time on, let's say, torque, because I just can't wrap my mind around this torque thing. So in my first year of university, after attending a few lectures, I figured that going to lectures and sit there throughout the lecture isn't the most effective way for me to study. In today's video, we're going to go through my top 5 tips for studying that make me do pretty well in exams and put me on Dean's List in every year in my university. So first step, you want to make sure that you are clear with the scope of the subject that will be tested. Now, there are a few ways you can do this. Firstly, usually they are recorded somewhere on your lecture notes. So you would be able to look at your lecture notes and know, okay, these are the contents that will be in scope for my exam. If your professor is the kind of professor that will tell you in the lecture what exactly are the topic to be tested, you might want to watch the lecture recording. If you have a lecture recording, that would be perfect. You can just fast forward it at AX speed. When you hear him talking about, oh, this is going to be the content that will be tested, you then record it down. Now you might say, my college doesn't have this service, we don't have recorded lectures, and that's perfectly fine. I would recommend 2 ways for you to do this. Firstly, ask your friend who attended a lecture for whatever content that the professor has mentioned that will be tested in the common exam. Second, directly send an email to professor. For this one, a lot of you might be thinking, oh, it's really awkward to just email my professor. He's a really busy man. I don't think he will ever reply to me. Well, I had the same thought before I sent out my first ever email to ask my professor about the scope of the subject as well. But what I've realized after so many years is that professors are generally very happy to help. And as long as you ask in a polite, respectful way in your email, professors are usually very happy to answer your questions. Now we know the scope of your subject. Second, you want to make sure that you understand the lecture handouts. In other words, understand what is taught in your lectures. There are also a few ways to do this. What I will usually do is I would print out the lecture notes and just go through it from the top to the bottom and make sure I understand everything. A lot of the times the notes are self-explanatory, so you don't really have to go into the lecture and listen to someone talking, explaining the thing to you, because I know a lot of professors, sad to say this, but they just read off their slides. If there are bottlenecks that you can't figure out by yourself, I highly recommend checking out YouTube online courses such as Khan Academy or just any random YouTube videos that has like 5K views and seem to be talking about the knowledge point or the type of question that you are seeking answer for. And usually those videos are really straight to the point. You can play back to watch them if you don't understand it. So I personally find them really helpful when you understand like a specific topic in a lecture. Thirdly, do your tutorials. Now, different from lectures, tutorials is something that I 100% recommend you to attend in person. If I were to say that lectures are like set menus that are not catered to a specific person, tutorials can be customized to suit your need. This is the place where you can focus on topics that you feel the most uncomfortable with. So when you go to tutorials, ask any questions that you might have about the topic or a specific question in the tutorial exercise that you don't understand. Make it a customized personal experience journey for you. The tutor is there to help you to answer your questions. And don't be afraid to show your solutions, to show your thinking in front of the class. It's okay if you make a mistake. It's okay if people laugh. Actually, I don't think people will laugh, and you are gonna be the one that will not lose marks in the exam on that question. So it's totally worth it. The 4th tip, reach out to a professor for private Q&A session. Now, hearing this might give you a cringe. Well, at least that's what happened to me. I am more of an independent learner, so I used to just learn by myself because I trust I can do it, and it's how I've been doing it for ages, from school to college to even until now actually. But there are times that there are questions that you just can't fix by yourself. So what I find really helpful is I will collect all the questions that I can't solve by myself. I will send an email to my professor to arrange a private session with him, maybe just like 30 minutes, because you don't want to make it too long so that professor will reject it because he or she doesn't have the time. You don't want to make it too short that you cannot go through all your questions. So I think 20 to 30 minutes is always a sweet spot that the professor wouldn't say no, and usually, as I said before, they are very happy to help in general. I personally find those sessions really, really helpful because you go straight to the source of truth instead of your friend who probably doesn't really know how to solve it but show you a wrong answer. And it's more effective than you grinding on the question but not arriving at an answer in the end. So it might sound intimidating at the start because you're reaching out to the professor directly for a one-to-one session, but I guarantee you that you will find it very cost-effective, very fulfilling after talking to the professor. Plus, you don't lose face in front of your friends by not knowing like a specific question if that's something that's bothering you. You directly go to the professor who will not judge because you're a student and you are supposed to not know things and to ask him or her. The fifth tip, study with a friend. For this one, you don't want to just be studying with a random friend from your course. You want to find a really good friend that is also serious about learning. And in the best case, this friend is also good at the subject. You might think studying with your friend can be distracting, but I think there are a lot of benefits to studying with your friend as well. When you study with a very good friend, you keep each other accountable. What I've realized is that I am always more self-disciplined when I study with a friend that is also very self-disciplined, because I'll be like, well, she's still working on the exercise, I shouldn't be checking with my phone. You have this invisible accountability that you feel that will actually push you to be more self-disciplined. Second, you can ask questions right away, and hopefully the friend will have an answer for you because hopefully he or she is very good at this topic. Or you guys can discuss together, and that would deepen your understanding of the subject as well. So thirdly, when it's the other way around, when your friend has a question they want to ask you, do you get an opportunity to explain a concept or a knowledge point to someone else? And a study shows teaching someone actually deepens your understanding of a subject. That's a very effective way of learning. So yeah, although sometimes I feel it can be a little distracting when studying with a friend because inevitably you would want to chat a little bit after like working for an hour or two, but in general I find the benefits outweigh the distractions that I get when studying with a friend. I would also highly recommend you trying that. But the key is finding a good friend. Now, I hope today's video is helpful for you. I'm sorry about the lighting because it's getting dark here. If you find this video helpful, please leave a comment down below and subscribe if you would like more contents like this, and like the video, gives me a thumb up, and that would mean a lot to me. See you next time. Bye bye.